Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, grooves, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
As we roll into St. Patrick's Day, welcome back to the program we call Topic Thunder. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brooks. That handsome man below me is Ben. And over to our left, well, if you're watching, you're part of it already. It's the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call it
VIP's already in the house.
The people are showing up. This is what happens when you take a week off. And for good reason.
Clamoring.
We don't want to, yeah, you're itching for a little bit. And so are we. There's a lot to talk about. And we aim to get to it. But first, we just want to, again, welcome everybody in and thank them for their support. Thank our good friend Biz for the music up top to kick us off. And also, hey, there he is.
There he is.
Speak of the mage. And Aaron, Sir Aaron.
Young Aaron in the house as well, yes.
So, folks, we got a couple of things to cover really quick before we get to the officials, I guess. Over the weekend, Ben, I attended Shadow of the Super Wrestler.
Yes, yeah. The latest installment of Super Wrestlers was this past Sunday.
And let me tell you this: the episodic nature. Again, they run basically quarterly, so every 3 months, basically, there's a show. I kind of enjoy it. Now, I get the reason why you'd want to have more and you'd want to, monetize, all that kind of, I get that. Right. But let me tell you, it gives you enough time to you're not rushed to get to the next show. It doesn't feel like a financial burden that you've got to keep, right? Because there's no other way to see this. You've got to go to the Concord Music Hall in lovely Chicago, Illinois, right there on Milwaukee to attend this.
Yes.
Right.
That's not to say that it is not scalable. I don't think. I think it is a scalable idea that you could take it, make it very much like a Broadway show, so to speak. I think there is that is from afar, not knowing, but just from afar, seeing what I've seen so far. I think that is something that, because it is a quarterly thing and you're not running in the same venue every week, that it allows the story, the traveling show, if you will, to be fresh in a number of different markets if they should so choose. But obviously, I think they're doing a great job of taking it slow, building a foundation. But I do think that it is scalable, and knowing the guys that are behind it, they're not unaware of that fact, I'm sure.
There are obviously big dreams, and kudos to my friends. We'll just call them Larry and Todd.
That's very vague. Yes, yeah.
I know, right? For bravely putting their idea forth into this kind of venue. And I'll tell you this: I've gotten confirmation from the highest possible sources that this show drew the most since they started. This show outdrew even their first show, which had all kinds of hype behind it in the history of
and there was a lot of let's say friends and family coming out to support the project at that first show too. So to be able to build on that shows that they are building an audience, and it isn't just friends and family supporting the project, which that's got to be encouraging for those guys. Yeah.
It absolutely was, and shout out, because they made sure to acknowledge it was Mario Day, March 10th. So Mar, the abbreviation for March, we don't need to do that, right? Even Nintendo is now celebrating Mario Day, and it used to be just an insider joke amongst a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Kudos to the mysterious lady behind the fashion of the man, we call her Box.
Yes.
For designing and tailor making a Nintendo print suit for one
I
of Billy
saw
Wyatt.
that suit. That was impressive.
It had every Mario character in there. It was
that's incredible.
I'm fairly certain that was custom made. Now, given what I know about the woman that did it, it fits her talents and her skills. It was a phenomenal event. And one more thing about this past weekend, and specifically yesterday was my friend Billy Wack's birthday, and a special one. We're not going to say the number. We'll be fair and that kind of thing. But it's always a great thing. We are smack dab in the middle of Pisces season, as other friends of mine call it. So happy birthday to my good friend Larry.
Indeed.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a fantastic ride, and I look forward to so many more. So with that, why don't we have a toast?
Oh
no.
There we go.
And, we're coming up. We already mentioned at the top that it's coming up on St. Patrick's Day, right? The official St. Patrick's Day is the 17th. Ben, I will be taking the family to the Blackhawks game.
Nice.
Here in town. There'll be.
I wish I was in town. I would let you borrow my St. Patrick's Day Duncan Keith jersey.
Oh, you got a green one because I took.
I do. Hold on.
Just to fill her, the pretty lady and I went to a Blackhawks game a couple weeks back, and I busted out my Taves and Keith jerseys. I wore Taves, of course, and she had the Keith. Look at that. See, there are going to be so many. Sean Young in the house. Want to give a shout out to C Red.
Hey, C Red. Hey.
That is gorgeous. There are going to be so many of those jerseys in the
stands.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a trip, man. And and Chicago Frank, dude, we met the ghost of somebody who had probably had a grabber in the 300 level of probably not even like the United Center, probably in the stadium. And his ghost just gravitated to the 300 level of the United Center because that same game I took the pretty lady to, this dude who looked, smelled, and acted like Chicago.
I know what you're saying without even having to describe it anymore. Yes.
To kick the whole thing off, and the dude was clearly an electrician too. Because we saw the text messages of him having to set up 70 LED lights at like Angus Young's house or whatever the hell he was talking about, right? It was insane. This man was a specter of the highest order when intermission came. And of course, he sat down with like 5 minutes to go in the first period, smelling of like Drakkar Noir or something like that, and like Pabst Blue Ribbon, right?
Yes.
They got up, and he had a lovely looking lady next to him. They got up, and the row ahead of us had vacated, right? So there was nobody there. This dude just got up, drink beer in hand, and nary a drop spilled. Walks just simply gracefully like a ballerina, walks just on the handrails of the folded up seats. And with pointed dress shoes on. That
man is amazing.
Not one drop
a legend
spilled.
Yeah, a legend in his own right. Absolutely.
Again, he's a ghost.
That's awesome.
Man, Frankie Chicago. So now that's the inside joke. But yes.
So I brought, unbeknownst to you, Brooks, I brought something to drink. I'm not one to normally bring something, but I saw this. So I'm obviously I've said this before, a big sparkling ice, sparkling water kind of guy, right?
But it has to be heavy flavor.
Yes, and Adrian saw these in the store the other day. Sparkling ice has come out with Starburst flavor.
What?
Okay?
What Starburst?
Cherry Starburst.
The best Starburst.
The goat Starburst, right? And that was there was two reasons why I wanted to bring this up. Was to do a review. I've not had this yet. I have not opened it. I wanted to taste it. I want to give a review right here live on the show during the drink segment. Number one, but number two, while I'm doing that, cherry is the greatest flavor. I will only hear an argument about pink strawberry. I will hear an argument, though I will shout you down eventually, but I'll hear an argument about the pink. Other than that, I don't want to hear your argument. Red cherry is the best Starburst. No questions, right?
Yeah, I feel the same way about the orange that you do the pink. I'll listen out of respect.
Right, but if you say yellow, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, immediately we're gonna.
I don't mind yellow, but that can't be your favorite. That can't be your favorite. No.
Right.
All right.
So here we go. Absolutely, you go first. Absolutely. Here we go. I love the juxtaposition. The last time Ben tried something, it was a.
It's good. Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't punch you in the face with Starburst cherry, but there it is. It's kind of on the back end a little bit.
Interesting.
The little tartness of the Starburst. No, that's good.
How's the carbonation level? What are we
Perfect.
talking about?
Sparkling ice. Sparkling ice gets it, man. Their shit is top. Their flavors. I was expecting big things. My expectation, my bar was very high, and it has met expectations. It's 4.5 bolts, Ben bolts, if you will. Ben burps, if you will.
As the GG is calling it there.
There you go. How many Ben burps does it get? Yeah, it gets 4.5.
4.5.
It's very good.
It is almost perfect, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
if it punched you in the face a little bit more with the Starburst flavor, it would be really good.
Joe's in the chat. Hey, this is like an all-star cast. So
yeah, how about it?
As we kind of roll out the rest of the segment,
what are you drinking on, my friend?
Well, you know, I'm Irish, so and Polish, proudly. So the first thing we're gonna do is a little toast with the old Jameson, right? And it's a happy.
Yes.
You know,
there you go.
Because I'm not gonna let the
I can smell that through the camera.
It smells.
And it makes my stomach hurt already.
It smells like victory, and the only thing that can make it taste sweeter, Ben, is if I was drinking this out of the skull of my enemy.
Yeah. All right, so, down the hatch.
Also, my beloved Hydra.
Yes.
Shot glass. So as I always do, and you can ask Gigi for this, Ben, if you cut off, hold on, Ben, if you cut off one head, Ben, 2 more shall take its place. Cheers, motherfucker. Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
So there's that. And of course, got to do again.
Ooh, there you go. Look at you. Very Irish tonight. I love it.
And just to celebrate, you're celebrating. Hello. So carbonation on like a really cold, crisp 7-Up being like a perfect 10 in the carbonation world.
Right.
Where are we with that?
That is it is not that harsh of a carbonate. This is not that harsh of a carbonation. Okay. This would be like a 6 on the carbonation level. It's there, but it's not a hard carbonation like a 7-Up. Yeah. No.
Okay. So it's not I have the flu, I'm going to eat saltines.
It's not ginger ale. Yeah. No, not that the big bubbles. No, we're not working with that. No, it's perfect. Sparkling ice, I've yet to really have a flavor that doesn't suck. So.
All right. Well, folks, I think we've kind of
enough
suck, time. All right. Why don't we get right to it?
Yeah, let's do this.
We have breaking news, Ben.
Breaking news.
Dylan Cease has been traded from the White Sox.
I sent that to you right before we went on the air. You didn't see it until now, huh?
Just now, because, I'm a busy man, Ben.
Yes, you are. You are.
Yes, amazing.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Our Lockport Joe hooking us up with who they got in that trade. Yeah. I'm not impressed.
You're a bigger baseball fan than I, so that's not a good haul.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's the number 5 and number 8 prospect. They're both right-hand pitchers, but this is going to be nerdy for anyone that is not me and you and Joe, really. But they wanted more than what the Brewers got for Corbin Burns from the Orioles, and the Orioles have the best farm system in baseball. I can't feel like this was a better trade than what the Brewers got from the Orioles. But I don't know. You don't know because they're both prospects. Neither guy has made it to the majors yet. At one time the White Sox traded Fernando Tatis Jr. for James Shields. So that also happened one time. Did I say that out loud? Oh.
You know what? It just the history of terrible Chicago sports team trades. That would be a whole show in and of itself. Is give me one Chicago terrible trade to one positive Chicago trade, and let's find out. Let's make the definitive. Like, is Chicago in the red or in the black as far as like sports trades go? But that is actually not why you came here. We actually had a concept back in the day called Sports Jerks for that type of content.
Yes.
This type of content is a whole nother type of content.
I don't know why the screen share is not working properly.
Oh, really?
That's fun.
Now, well, the story from Variety, the headline is TikTok ban. The House passes a bill that would outlaw the app in the United States unless its Chinese parent company sells ownership stake. It's one of these things that we haven't covered extensively. We've focused on a little bit of Facebook. We've certainly focused on what Twitter has become. But every here and now and again, I guess, we've mentioned TikTok is largely owned and especially controlled by the Chinese government, who, by the way, are not our friends. Let's just make that very abundantly clear.
Yes, it's worth pointing out. Not our friends. Not friends.
And 170 million Americans are on TikTok, and it has flourished in the last 5 years like a wildfire. Like nobody heard about TikTok 5-6 years ago. Like
and now it is the biggest source for news and information in the United States.
And influence.
Yep.
In the United States.
More than Google. People go to TikTok more than Google for their
Facebook, X. I think they're the number ones. Maybe Facebook. I don't have the numbers in front of me, folks, but I think Facebook might be number one. Anyway, being controlled by what you would consider a foreign adversary and a weapon of influence, political, social, and otherwise, other categories, it makes it especially unique, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg owns his Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Of course, now Elon Musk owns X, formerly Twitter. I don't actually know who owns Telegram, because that's another big one, but not as big in the U.S. And I'm, again, not sure about like WhatsApp, because I know that's still a big one that's used out there for a lot of different reasons.
So, okay, this one is an interesting one, Brooks. I finally got it fixed. This is an interesting one, and I wonder if we may disagree on this, but it is fascinating to see conservative people and their reactions to this story. And when confronted with, for lack of a better term, hypocrisy that they have on this subject when it comes to government interference in the private lives of American citizens, and allowing the government to decide what websites we can and cannot view as adults in this country, is a extremely dangerous, slippery slope. I don't agree with Tulsi Gabbard on much at all right now. But this one, if you look at her latest post when she talks about this TikTok ban, I think she's spot on. You cannot have the government involved in this. I understand that China is a threat, but at the same time, it has to come back to personal responsibility. If the idea is pearl clutching and what about the kids, and they're gearing the algorithm to dumb down our kids. Well, guess what? That's your job as a parent to make sure that you know what your child is taking in on social media, and making sure that they understand what is reality and what is not, what is truth and what is not, and what is what should be in their algorithm, what shouldn't be in their algorithm. You cannot have the government involved in that conversation. I just don't see. This is like opening the door for like the Patriot Act, and we have the best of intentions in allowing this into law, but it will be abused. And if, let's just say, Christian fundamentalists take control of the government of this country, and they decide, and we're not far off from that. That is not a far off pie in the sky reality, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very real thing that could happen sooner than later if things don't run the right way. Yes, we might be talking about it later. But if they take control and they decide to use this same law to, let's just say, ban pornography, what's to stop them?
So there's a lot to this, right? And there's a lot to kind of bring up, and of course the Thunderdome are bringing up all the points that are very valid in this entire situation. And first of all, I think what Joe said is great, because it's kind of too late now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to kind of stuff all this back into the box, it's out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to try and rein it in or control it, otherwise, it's there. Here's what I would say. In a national defense, and of course I'm no expert, but in a national defense, like, counterintelligence frame of mind, and is that, sure, your point that it's TikTok is fun stories and fun videos and all this kind of, right? There's content, and it's freedom of speech for sure, but I don't know how to say this. If it could be weaponized,
Sure,
and that influence used to put pressure and then coerce a voting public, that's the long-term, big picture look you have to have. From just a little legit, just the question had to be.
I get it. We're protecting you. We are protecting ourselves from our collective stupidity.
In a lot of ways, because again, and Chris brought it up too. Parents aren't parenting in this generation. I would argue that parents haven't been parenting since it became impossible to have a single income and have a house and a family.
Sure, since the advent of the internet in homes. And the accessible of internet in homes, that changed the dynamic. And, I think that's you can almost pinpoint it to that moment when computers became cheaper and more accessible in the homes. And that was probably, when I was in high school, freshman, sophomore year of high school, 93, 94, somewhere in there.
Things changed, and even like the 70s, when our economy became less of a manufacturing based economy to a service financial type economy, and
sure.
Has now has kind of almost rolled into an entertainment type economy, with that kind of component. So things have changed as far as like what people aspire to be. Even like, it's perfectly okay for somebody who's 15, 16, 17 years old to be going, I want to be an influencer.
Right.
Because people make money on that, right? It's a legitimate way to earn a living these days.
Yes.
Which complicates the idea of, we're going to ban this app and shut this off.
Exactly.
Because it's not just affecting, the collective conscious and influence that a hostile and very intelligent adversary can wage against us. So all of a sudden we can start seeing ads against George Washington. He was a rotten dude, right? It just, I throw that out there as just an impossible thing to, but also something to consider. Like, it could be anything. It could be any decision that our government makes. It could be our government in and of itself. We've seen, and this audience is surely wizened up to the effects of propaganda. And false information being, if it gets out there first, yes.
I get that side of the argument, and I understand that there is a threat there, but at the same time, I liken it to, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when Tucker Carlson went to Russia, right? And he's talking about how the groceries are cheaper, the subways are cleaner, everything looks so awesome and clean and grand while you're in Russia. But what he doesn't talk about is the cost that comes along with that. I have that same reaction when it comes to this story, is that, yes, on its surface, the idea of banning TikTok because China has so much influence, and yes, they are purposefully dumbing down our children while educating their own children, it comes with a price. It's not free, and it
True.
will be abused. You know it will be, and it is so much harder to get something taken out of law than put in. And once you open the door and you put it in, it becomes nearly impossible to get it out. Look at the Patriot Act. This screams that same thing to me, that we have the best of intentions and our heart's in the right place, but we give up more than we should in the name of protection, when really it is in this case, it is a personal responsibility thing. There has to be some level of personal responsibility for, if you are getting your information from TikTok and you are being influenced from TikTok, you have to own that on some level, that you're allowing that to happen to yourself. And if we're going to legislate people's personal responsibility when it comes to social media access, why are we just going to stop there? If you're going to open that door, then let's kick it down and let's really start talking about legislating personal responsibility, because there's a number of other subjects we could get into if we really wanted to, but we're already running late and we got a lot to talk about. But it could open up a huge Pandora's box if that's the route you want to go down. But conservatives, I don't think, want to go down that route. They want to go this far. They want to go just as far enough for TikTok, and then they just hope that that's the line. Well, we're just going to draw the line at TikTok, but you don't understand. That's not where the line is going to get drawn. There's no way that's where the line is.
Here I am saying, if you're going to do TikTok, you got to fucking question what Elon Musk is fucking doing right now. And in his direct ties to the Kremlin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
I would broach that conversation. Okay, well, if you're willing to do that, well, all right. And I live on.
They don't want to have that conversation because Elon Musk is a free speech fucking patriot, yo.
Oh yeah. Even though ask Don Lemon how he feels about that situation. Anyway, we have spent a lot of time in part. I will say this. I don't have TikTok. Gigi does. She's very active on there, and I've been very entertained by what I've seen, what she's shown me on TikTok. But like any social media, and this goes for media in general too, if the motives aren't there and the motives aren't, the heart of it isn't, and this is what Gigi said, the heart's not in the right place, it's going to be poison, right? But if the heart's in the right place, which a majority of these content creators are, it's not their fault. So punishing them, like we were saying, with people who have made legitimate livings as this, it's a phenomenal.
And you can understand how business owners are pushing for this TikTok ban too, because if young kids don't have the option of making money on TikTok and as an influencer on social media, guess what they have to do? Go find a fucking job.
Real job. Well, not a real
quote unquote real job, right? What the traditional real job, right? But that's what the fucking capitalists want. So there you have this agenda that's pushing for this with using our uncertainty, preying on our fears and exploiting our fears and uncertainty when it comes to a legitimate fear and anxiety, which is China's influence on our way of life. They're embedded, ladies and gentlemen, and it ain't going to stop at TikTok.
Yeah, so. China's not our friend. They own a significant portion of our debt.
Exactly. A lot of businesses and artists get noticed on TikTok too. Yes.
They have openly described that their way of life, they feel their version of democracy, which is superior to ours. They are a threat to their neighbors. Ask Taiwan, ask Japan, ask South Korea. China is a threat, and they're smart enough to analyze the data that they get. If you think companies in America are skeevy and sleazy with the way they buy data and target specific things, whether they're advertisements or information specifically to you via your social media, well, guess what China is going to do with all that information? They're going to analyze it, psychologically analyze it, and target groups of people and again, at all social media, like Zuckerberg and his Facebook empire, that the same thing. It's just there's a broader conversation, I guess, to be had about social media.
For sure.
And now I guess is not the time to do it because we got to fly into another conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, have you heard Boeing's having a great year?
They are not having a great time. Yeah, I hope you don't own any Boeing stock because it's not working.
I think they lost like 2%, like something.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Ridiculous, like on the stock market today because, well, just yesterday the FFA found that Boeing used liquid Dawn soap as lubricant for a 737 MAX door seal. That was reported by the New York Times. The Federal Aviation Administration auditors saw mechanics for a Boeing supplier using liquid Dawn soap as a lubricant for fitting a door seal. The regulator then observed mechanics at Spirit Aerosystems, which builds the fuselage for the much beleaguered Boeing 737 MAX, cleaning up using a wet cheesecloth. Now, I don't know if that doesn't sound like that's regulation.
No, sure doesn't.
I don't know because I don't know how to properly clean it up, but if they're reporting it, it's probably not correct. These findings were part of a 6-week audit documented in a set of FAA presentation slides on which the Times based its report. Again, the New York Times. The slide said that Boeing had failed 33 of 89 product audits related to its 737 MAX production, while Spirit had failed 7 of 13 audits. 7 of 13 is good if you're a baseball player.
Right.
7 of 13 is horrifying if you're an airline.
Yes. Yeah, not good.
Global scrutiny is building on the quality of the 737 MAX's fuselage after a door plug on an Alaska Airlines flight blew out in January while the aircraft was still in midair. We covered that story on these very airwaves. The incident triggered a push to investigate the safety standards at Boeing, which has been accused of quality assurance lapses for several years.
God, of all the people that have quality assurance lapses, like, you're not allowed.
Absolutely not. And folks, let's be honest. This is almost par for the course, right? As it's become more about profits over safety, profits over people, profits over everything. CEOs maxing out their value and while depressing wages and creating labor shortages and overstaffing situations on the floor, thus forcing cost-cutting measures. Hey, does this sound familiar in your line of work? So, Ben, this is obviously a big deal, right? So,
yeah.
Of course, there's an investigation, right? Apparently, it is common practice when performing repairs on these aircraft that there's a log of who's making the repair. And that just seems like you work in a workplace, the printer goes out, you put in a ticket, right? And then, then Johnny Printer Fixer picks up the ticket, so now there's a trail right to Johnny Printer Fixer. He comes and he fixes
Johnny Printer Fixer.
Thank you. And Johnny Printer Fixer says, "Hey, your printer's working. Have a good day. I hope let me know if it ever." But then he goes back to his desk and he closes out his ticket. Right? There's a paper trail. There is at least somebody. There's a record of, hey, somebody came to repair this thing. It was Johnny Printer Fixer.
Right.
He signed off on it. We know who did this, right? And apparently, in a lot of these situations, there's cameras that capture the repairs. I actually did a little bit of research about this. It gets further than that. They keep logs of the tools that were used, like specifically the tools that are used to repair certain jobs, because
yes, and Chris nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Stock buyback, exactly.
That's what's more important to them, to be honest with you.
And and value to their their shareholders, to the board. And
this is the corporate world, the capitalist world that we all live in, ladies and gentlemen. This is profits over people. It's always, 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 always going to be that way without strict, heavy government regulation. You got to get one or the other. You get one or the other. You get safety or you get regulation. You cannot have both, unfortunately, or not have both.
There is a fine balance there.
Sure.
Right. Again, when responsible adults get together and have honest and truthful conversations. Yeah,
wheels are falling off planes. This has just not been a good couple of weeks for airplane travel.
Not at all.
But at the same time, Brooks, I'm not one to get nervous. I'm about flying.
Ben.
I'm not. I really am not, because it happens so often.
I'm sorry.
Every day without incident.
I'm sorry. I'm going to press on with my investigation, Ben.
Okay.
This is from ABC News Today. New details emerge in a case of Alaska Airlines plane where a door plug blew out. The famous story that kicked this whole thing off, right? Where the airplane, the door just...
Right. There you go. There's a nice picture of the situation.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, there it is. Imagine you're getting ready to get on a plane to go see...
No, you're not just getting ready to get... You're in the air.
In the air, right?
Yeah.
The National Transportation and Safety Board does not know who worked on the failed door plug on Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, and Boeing overwrote surveillance footage from the repair facility where the plug was reinstalled ahead of the flight earlier this year.
That's not good.
According to a letter Wednesday from the NTSB chairman, Jennifer Hormandy, to the Senate committee. The NTSB has been requesting footage in order to investigate what happened during the mid-flight scare. The agency said it does not know which Boeing employees worked on the failed door plug, which blew out in the flight in January. Quote, to date, we still do not know who performed the work to open, reinstall, and close the door plug on the accident aircraft. That was what Chairperson Homendy wrote to Senators Maria Cartwell and Senator Ted Cruz. Of all people, he's actually the one time Ted Cruz is on the right side of this, right?
Again, just like Tulsi Gabbard, even a blind squirrel finds a few nuts.
In a statement, Boeing said, in a transparent and proactive fashion, we have supported all regulatory inquiries into this incident.
Did you?
But they also informed the committee that they are unable to find the records documenting this work. Again, please reference our conversation 4.5 minutes ago, where everything in the corporate world has a paper trail.
Yeah.
There are no handshake transactions anymore. You can't just do something and be like, oh yeah, without accepting some sort of responsibility for this.
Yeah.
Everything should be tracked. But Ben, this is just an accident.
Is it?
This is just a coincidence.
Is it?
That they all of a sudden have probably the most terrible week an airline has ever had outside of one of their planes like blowing up.
No, because it doesn't stop there. It really? No, it doesn't. And as a matter of fact, it gets like a lot worse.
Like how worse?
Like a whistleblower who raised safety concerns being found dead of a quote unquote self-inflicted end quote gunshot wound.
A former Boeing employee who raised numerous concerns about the company's production standards died from a, quote, self-inflicted, end quote, gunshot wound Saturday, per a coroner's report. The former employee was actively engaged in a whistleblower complaint against the company prior to his death, the employee's attorney confirmed. John Barnett, 62, was found by police officers on the morning of March 9 in a vehicle parked by a Holiday Inn along Savannah Highway, quote, holding a silver handgun in his right hand. And
let me guess, he's left-handed.
I don't know I don't know how John throws. Police said they were responding to a hotel worker's call after the worker had heard a pop from Barnett's vehicle about 30 minutes prior to officers arriving. You heard? I want to get in a timeline because I don't know it. Barnett had checked into the hotel on March 2nd and was due to check out March 8th. Responding officers discovered a male in the vehicle suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The Charleston Police Department said the investigation is still active. Listen to this dude's backstory. Barnett worked for Boeing for 32 years until his retirement in 2017. He had been actively involved in litigation against the company. He was deposed before Boeing lawyers last week. Barnett filed his whistleblower complaint shortly after his retirement from Boeing in 2017. Folks, that's 7 years ago that this guy came out and said, hey, I've seen some stupid, crazy shit on pieces of equipment and vehicles that you never want to see stupid, crazy shit on. This is a quote from the attorney. John was in the midst of a deposition in his whistleblower retaliation case when finally nearing the end. He was in good spirits and really looking forward to putting this phase of his life behind him and moving on. We didn't see any indication he would take his own life. No one can believe it.
I wonder why that is.
Boeing has moved to dismiss the case on several occasions and denied all of Barrett's allegations, including claims the company put profits over safety. Boeing. Quote, safety issues are immediately investigated and changes are made wherever necessary, said a Boeing spokesperson who was just handed copy for the first time in their life and ever gave the first press conference of their entire life. The sacrificial lamb, we call that first-year employee. Upon learning of Barrett's passing, Boeing released a statement. We are saddened by Mr. Barrett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends. Folks, that, in gangster speak, is we killed your loved one.
Yeah, that is not good. Seems very obvious what's going on there. Like that, you can't help. I try these days to not be the conspiracy guy.
You don't want to, or you want to always look at everything like with a critical eye and consider,
right.
Like,
but come on, that just reeks of bullshit going on there. Shenanigans.
The only thing that would have made that story more in the realm that we're considering it is if he fell out of a window.
Right, and stabbed himself before he fell out of a window.
Stab wounds and fell out a window, and also for some reason had rope burns around his neck.
Right, exactly.
But he fell out of the window, and that's what killed him.
Yeah.
Folks, it's not going to get any cheerier, but I promise the show lifts up a little bit after this. Do you know what is going on in Haiti right now?
Oh, are we going to skip the
what did I skip?
Superman Dan deal?
Yeah, do it. Oh, folks, yeah, actually, okay, before we do anything, we want to assure you, and this is Ben's point, that flying is actually really safe.
Hey, Jim! Woo!
Excuse me.
That's a bad outfit! Woo!
God, look up there.
What the hell is that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Gentlemen, this man needs help.
You're there. Help him.
Well,
You're
This
Superman.
whole incident hasn't put you off flying, miss. Statistically speaking, of course, it's still the safest way to travel.
Right. Great!
Thanks, Superman.
What's your name?
So there you go. Yeah. So there you go. It is statistically, because like it's like getting weirded out about. This is going to be a weird comparison, but it makes me think of this, the vaccine thing, right? Like, yes, people get hurt by vaccines, and yes, airline incidents happen, but they are so few and far between. And statistically speaking, you are way safer to fly than even drive a car. That you can't get freaked out by these stories and think, oh, we got to stop flying. Like, the flying is unsafe. It is still a really, really safe form of travel. Like, incidents happen very few and far between.
Just don't get on a Boeing-made plane, and
there you go.
Odds
That's
increase astronomically,
exponentially. Yes. So, all right, back to Haiti.
And I really didn't know the depths of what was going on there until
me neither.
You're
going to smarten me up.
But it is dire in Haiti as gangs have legitimately basically run the government out of town and taken over the capital. It is no longer safe in Port-au-Prince. And in fact, the State Department's not allowing Americans, to fly into Port-au-Prince.
If your nickname is barbecue.
Oh, this story gets so fucking crazy. From our friends at The Independent. Jimmy Barbecue Cherizer, the former cop turned gang leader, is bringing Haiti to its knees. The U.S. Embassy says it's halting all official travel to the country and urges American citizens to leave. Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry said he was resigning amid mounting international pressure following gang violence that has pushed the capital to the brink of civil war. Mr. Henry faced calls to resign from Haitian gang leaders who have taken over the capital of Port-au-Prince, keeping the Prime Minister stranded outside the country. Heavily armed gangs have tried to seize control of Haiti's main international airport, exchanging gunfire with police and soldiers in the latest attack on government sites. The explosion of violence that has taken place in the country has included a mass escape from the country's prisons. Jimmy Barbecue Cherizer, a former elite police officer who now runs a gang federation, has claimed responsibility for a surge in the attacks. The of course, very Haitian sounding Toussaint Louverture International Airport was closed when the attacks occurred, with no planes operating and no passengers on site. It is the biggest attack on the airport in Haiti's history. A breakthrough has come when Mr. McHenry's resignation has caused, after the Caribbean Community Regional Bloc, CARICOM, held an urgent meeting of Caribbean leaders late Monday in Jamaica that was also attended by U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Quote, "The government that I'm running cannot remain insensitive to the front of the situation. There is no sacrifice that is too big for our country," Mr. Henry said in a statement. Quote, again, "The government I'm running will remove itself immediately after the installation of the council," which I assume is being handed to them by this larger council.
Mm-hmm.
I want to scroll down a little bit because I want to go into, they give a little more history of this, where it says, why is there history in Haiti, or why is there violence in Haiti? Some of Haiti's most powerful gang leaders say their goal is bringing down Henry. The country has failed to hold parliamentary and general elections in recent years, and there are no elected officials. Henry was sworn in as prime minister with the backing of the international community after the July 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, which I'm pretty sure we covered on this show, or something else, something resembling this show.
Mm-hmm.
The latest round of attacks began in February after Henry pledged to hold long-awaited general elections by mid-2025. The surge in attacks follow a violent protest that turned deadlier in recent days as the prime minister went to Kenya seeking to move ahead on the proposed UN-backed security mission to lead that led by the East African country. Excuse me. Mr. Scherzer said that the goal is to capture Haiti's police chief and government ministers and prevent Mr. Henry's return. He has threatened to go after hotel owners, hiding politicians, collaborating with Mr. Henry, and he has demanded that the country's next leader be chosen by the people and live in Haiti alongside their families. This is a quote from Mr. Scherzer, or as we call him,
Barbecue.
If Henry continues down this path, he will plunge Haiti into chaos. We are not in a peaceful revolution. We are making a bloody revolution in this country because the system is an apartheid system, a wicked system. The prime minister, a neurosurgeon, which in my experience disqualifies you from public service, has shrugged off calls for him to resign and did not comment when asked if he felt he was safe to come home. So we're going to scroll down to the who's responsible for the violence. Mr. Scherzer has announced as gunmen began to attack infrastructure that he would try and capture the company's police chief and government ministers. 4 police officers were killed when their stations became under siege. We're going to keep scrolling. Why have the gangs become so powerful? An estimated 200 gangs exist in Haiti, with 23 main ones believed to be operating in the metropolitan area of Port-au-Prince. Until recent years, they controlled some 60% of the capital. And now that number is 80%. They smuggled firearms and ransom payments to kidnappers that have allowed them to become more financially independent, and that has increased their power as the state has weakened. An underfunded and under-resourced police department has been unable to contain them. This is a quote from the Global Initiative report. I want to party with those people. Present-day gangs enjoy a much higher degree of military capability than those a decade ago. This has largely been driven by the gang's ability to acquire high-caliber weapons. Where have you heard that before, Ben? A 2023 UN report stated that recovered weapons destined for the Haitian port included 50 caliber sniper rifles, 308 rifles, and even belt-fed machine guns.
Jeez.
The story goes on to explain that this dude Scherzer is in charge of a gang called the G9 Family and Allies. And he's been apparently forging relationships with his adversaries to turn them into allies with the express cause of flipping the government here. That is crazy.
Yeah, that sounds like a fucking nightmare scenario.
That is a horrifying situation because it's January 6th.
And isn't this all of this is coming after they had those terrible earthquakes that basically destroyed the place, right? This is kind of the vacuum that was left after that earthquake basically destroyed everything.
Pretty much. And that's, I think, one of the complaints also is like the lack of government support in that entire situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Speaking of crazy,
we have got time for this, folks. One of the things that are coming up here is the political and presidential election.
Yes.
We don't talk about that shit at all here.
Barely, honestly, but whatever. We'll get it.
year.
There's plenty of time for us. I'm sure we will be talking about those two old men blathering at each other for months now.
We've been waiting and holding on.
We're conserving our energy when it comes to that.
However, there is no doubt the people that support Donald J. Trump and their inclinations. If you had a doubt, well, and if you've never heard of Project 2025, it is a startling read. And this has been covered by a couple of a very small few independent. Actually, this story was broken by an independent reporter and not very heavily covered by any of the major news or media organizations. This particular story comes from the Bucks County Beacon By Jennifer Cohen. This was for March 7th. Approximately 100 right-wing organizations have signed on to Project 2025, an expansive plan for controlling, and in some cases, dismantling federal agencies in the event that Trump or another Republican wins the presidential election this year. Many of these organizations are led by Christian fundamentalist political operatives, suggesting that they might use the plan to force all Americans to submit to their extreme religious beliefs.
Nothing to see here.
The Beacon's discovery follows an earlier report by political journalist Heidi Prisbilla, who tied the Center for Renewing America, an official Project 2025 partner, to an internal memo expressly listing Christian nationalism as a priority for a second Trump term. Prisbilla further reported that CFRA founder Russ Vought, a Project 2025 co-author, had stated last year on X that he's, quote, proud, end quote, to work with William Wolf, a former Trump official and visiting fellow with CFRA, on scoping out a sound Christian nationalism.
Jesus.
In a social media post, Wolf called for an end to no-fault divorce and abortion and for reduced access to contraception.
Yep, that's where we're going.
Wolf, who has attended the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, also people I'd love to party with, has
can you imagine how fun those people must be? Wow.
High in that communion.
Woo.
Soon after political support, Wolf changed his social media profile to remove the reference to work with and his involvement with CFRA, thus burying the connection to Project 2025 leader Russ Vought. Wolf is also an alumnus of Heritage, the lead organizer of Project 2025. Now, we're going to scroll down a little bit here. The manifesto also includes somebody we've talked about here, Oklahoma Senator Dusty Devers, a Southern Baptist. Listen to this. A Southern Baptist who supports charging women who get abortions with murder. In addition to Wolf, its editors include Joel Wibben, who has tweeted that the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, was a bad idea. The manifesto, titled The Statement on Christian Nationalism, begins with the definition of Christian nationalism, which strives to implement a scripture-based system whereby Christ-ordained civil magistrates exercise authority over the American public.
This is a fucking nightmare scenario.
Repeat that one more time before we can't.
Right.
The manifesto begins with the definition of Christian nationalism that strives to implement a scripture-based system of government where Christ-ordained civil magistrates exercise authority over the American public. Can I watch these Christ-ordained meetings and hearings? Can I see this guy Christ's resume? Does he show up on TV? Is he a fictional person that you're now clearly making shit up? Specifically, it states that Christian nationalism is a set of governing principles rooted in the scriptures teaching that Christ rules as supreme Lord and King of all creation, who has ordained civil magistrates with delegated authority to be under him, capital H, over the people to order their jurisdiction by punishing evil and promoting good for his, capital H, own glory and the common good of the nation.
What kind of fucking bananas fucking bullshit is this, Brooks? What are we doing?
The manifesto then states, pursuant to scripture, these, quote, civil magistrates have lawful authority to punish civil crimes like assault, murder, rape, theft, fraud, man-stealing, false witness, and to ensure due process through civil courts, payment for a liability verifiably proving harm, and proportionality of punishment, emphasis added. So now, whatever you believe from these really old and heavily edited books, and you're
look at William Wolf. William Wolf looks like a guy has fucking skeletons in his fucking closet. Anybody that is this extreme about their religion, they got some shit going on.
This is what's waiting for you, us, if Donald Trump wins the election. And I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of Biden.
And it was set up, man. It's set up with when they packed the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, and they gave powers back to the states. Like this is all part of the plan, and this is the next step.
Powers back to the state, right? They said that because it was convenient to them for abortion. But when it came to remove somebody from their ballot for a political election, then the Supreme Court was like, well, the states can't make this decision. This needs it. So again, like look the rigged situation that this is.
Agreed. I totally, I agree with that, but yeah.
So not being a conspiracy theorist, but now going to rely on a conspiracy theorist to basically tell you what the plan is here. Because if you heard that segment and you still want to vote and implement that type of governance in this country, we got a problem, and you're probably actually not in the chat zone. I hope.
Right.
But here's where this gets really interesting. We've talked about the horseshoe of extremism, that there's the left and the right of the horseshoe, or the tips of the horseshoe, and those are the weird people on both the left and the right side, but generally everybody's in the center of the horseshoe.
Right.
Here's how they can make those two ends of the horseshoe stronger than the center.
How can you sit here and have an oligarch, a Republican oligarch, that is going to be the salvation of the Democratic Party? Okay, it's outrageous. You guys have screwed. Well, Bernie's been screwed by the Democratic Party. Look at the last week. They wouldn't allow the poll to be released where he was up 4. Okay, then they do this thing as soon as the whole debacle about the count. As soon as he starts closing in, the Democratic Party says, "Hey, let's have a recanvass." Okay. The Bernie voters are to do what they did in 2016. We've had a belly full of the Clintons come either don't vote or come vote for Trump.
I understand why you're against Bernie. Yes, I mean he has too much socialism.
I like Bernie.
Really, you want socialism?
No. He's a populist.
Right. He's a socialist.
I don't agree. I don't agree with his solutions. I think a lot of.
That's kind of a big part of politics.
No. The biggest part. One of the biggest parts is identifying the problem. I think Bernie's identified the problem. We just
Trump
have
and him
solutions.
Shared some voters because they both kind of go after the same problem. You're right.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just saying
the Bernie people are help make Trump president.
But you don't
they're going
want
to help make him president again.
Even I don't want that
by the Democratic Party.
Even I don't.
So help me out there. What's the what's the tie?
Just what he said at the end there, that the Bernie people are going to help make Trump president again. Because
you think that's going to happen again here in 2024?
That's what they're looking to do, right? They're trying to tie those extremist populist views and be like, well, you guys can't possibly be pro-Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That guy's terrible. That guy's Sleepy Joe. But all of a sudden he's on all the amphetamines for State of the Union. Like, he falls asleep. You can't possibly be with that guy. He's so pro-Israel and anti-Palestine. Like, all of those divisive measures, which Bernie and Bernie bros are on, which kind of trickles down to the Tulsi Gabbard thing too. Because she's in that realm that, like, imagine Trump picking Tulsi Gabbard as a running mate.
Very real possibility.
Very real possibility, because it strikes all the things that he wants in running mate, right? She's attractive. She's female. Like, she's fiery about
She's
her.
very anti-Democrat right now.
Right.
Outspoken, not afraid. She's very well spoken. When you put her on television, she puts on the show very well. Yes.
She appeals to one man in that regard, right? The rest of us are sitting and going, dude, lady, your politics are shit. Thanks for your military, but
right. Other than your foreign policy, ideas, you're really a complete psychopath. Yeah.
So for Steve Bannon to be saying, I like Bernie. I like basically Bernie bros. Like, that is the antithesis to what you're saying on the other side with Trump and pushing this 2025 agenda. Again, taking those ends of the horseshoe and getting them together with these populist ideas. And look, we don't have perfect candidates, and there's some fault.
No, I told you this a couple of weeks ago. I believe we are headed towards Trump, another Trump presidency. I think that with the Muslim community, though it is not a vast, large community, I think enough people are going to either sit out or vote third party and not vote for Biden. And I think there is also a shift in the African American community. There are some polls that have showed Trump was was 4%, polling at like 4% with African American voters back in 2020, and it's up to 23% at this point. And those things, though, in an election that is likely to come down to tens of thousands of votes in certain pockets of the country, those things are going to matter. They're going to add up. And if there is a larger percentage, even if it is just 15% of the African American community is going to vote for Donald Trump in this upcoming election, in places like Atlanta where it mattered big time, it could be the difference. And that's what leads me to believe there is enough people out there right now that are so disenchanted with Joe Biden as a candidate that they are willing to cut off their nose to spite their face.
That's what exactly it boils down to, right, Ben? You said it.
You have to. What you are hoping is, and what a lot of us are hoping is that people won't do that, that they'll go, at the end of the day, I don't love Joe Biden, but at least he's not Donald Trump, so I'll go ahead and vote for him. That's what we're all banking on. Literally. But if enough people just go, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to sit this out. And I can get through another 4 years of Donald Trump. It doesn't affect me maybe necessarily personally, so I can get through the next 4 years of a Donald Trump presidency. So it doesn't make a big difference to me. So I'm not going to vote, or I'm going to vote for Trump because I don't like what Biden's doing on Israel or whatever the case may be.
It's a protest vote. I'm going to vote for RFK Jr. and Aaron Rodgers because I like that ticket. Like the protest vote too, right?
Aunt Chris is hearing it. Adrian hears it. And here's what, especially young African Americans, for some reason, for all the wrong reasons, they are attracted to Donald Trump and are getting behind him. And it is one of those like spiteful votes, I think, in a lot of cases, because he is so in their eyes, he's anti what the government is, that they are like, yeah, he's cool. And, I'll vote for him. Yeah, fuck shit up. Yeah, go in there and just make a mess of everything. Fuck it all.
In a long-term kind of view of it, I almost understand it because they're looking for the person that kind of lights the match, that burns the whole thing down, that has really been a structure of suppression for their people, right?
Yep.
However, it's not going to work out great for them. I just hope everybody understands. Like Ilhan Omar, a protest vote. You remember that Muslim ban? You remember how it was almost vogue to kill unarmed black people back then? Do we not remember Breonna Taylor? Do we not remember George Floyd? Do we not?
No, we'll remember Lake and Riley, though.
Right, Lake and Riley. That. Oh, don't get me started on that. So Ben, this next video, just to give you an idea of the threat that we're dealing with, right? These are the trained killers on the other side there that we as liberal democratic folk will be paired up against.
Uh-oh. Like, what even is this? What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. I mean, how embarrassing is this, that this is America?
Those are the people that we're dealing with, right now.
This is the other side of the fight, so to speak.
While
we're dealing with these people.
We're trying to literally split hairs on this show and find the nuance in the conversation and maybe come to some sort of agreement or like understanding that we're both sides get a little bit of something, which is the point of governance.
Right.
And here these folks are just almost probably that dude that missed that high kick probably simultaneously threw out his back and pulled his groin at the same time.
Yes.
To try a high kick.
Yeah, to kick a punch dummy with Biden's mask on it. Like, what are we doing? This like sycophant worship, or just end this? Man, the fight always used to be communism versus capitalism. That was the crux. Like, we have to stop communism, and that was the thing that we could all rally behind, and that was the battle, right? And the battle has shifted, man. It now is a battle of ideology, and it's the ideology of progress and treating people with a certain level of respect, even if you don't agree with their lifestyle. And there's this people that just don't want that, and they're going to vote against whatever this is because they're just not this. It's
they feel threatened.
Yeah.
They feel threatened.
Their way of life is threatened.
It's not, but they feel that way.
Correct. It's the replacement theory. It's why they are petrified of immigrants coming into this country, because of the way that they're going to vote. That's ultimately the crux, you understand, of the immigration issue. It is not fentanyl. It is not rapists and murderers. It is those people are going to come into this country and not vote conservative Republican, and we can't have that. We cannot be outnumbered. So therefore, we have to be against immigration, and we have to create this political theater where we've got fucking Katie Britt or whatever the fuck her name is, gasping and talking with this unbelievable, sort of like, oh my God, I'm so scared of what Joe Biden has done to this country because of the immigrant population and Laken Riley. Oh my God. And this nonsensical political theater that we have is all based in we're going to get replaced. It's all what it's based in. It's gross.
I think we're going to skip the Pooch story really quick.
Okay, gotcha. As great as that is, we have gone a little long.
We'll come back to it. You mentioned Katie Britt, and if I said the name James Lipton to you, Ben.
Yes. Big fan.
Big fan of a show that is no longer on the air called In the Actors.
I believe because James Lipton is dead.
He's dead. And
very dead.
The show no longer airs. But Inside the Actors Studio had a unique take on the Katie Britt post State of the Union.
What is your
address.
favorite word?
Rural.
What is your least favorite word?
Unvarnished.
What turns you on?
Putin's brutal aggression in Europe.
What turns you off?
Bidenomics.
What sound or noise do you love?
Or
What sound or noise do you hate?
moms and dads. Just like you.
What is your favorite curse word?
Alabama.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Sweeping the floor at my dad's hardware store.
What profession would you absolutely not like to mess around with?
And cleaning the bathroom at my mom's dance studio.
And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Are you better off now than you were 3 years ago?
What is your favorite?
The way, like, that whole thing, like, Katie Britt, by the way, if you didn't know who she was, you get to know her because they believe that in the Republican Party there is a swath of people, the MAGA folk, that believe that Katie Britt could be the one in line after Trump. They believe that she's going to connect with the American public, and this was going to be her unveiling. This was basically supposed to be her coming out party where she was going to wow the Republican conservative base with how great of a speech that she gave in response. And Yes, Scarlett Johansson apparently did an incredible impersonation of her. She's been lampooned. The idea that she did it from her kitchen is also like the aesthetics of it and her performance have all been nothing but lampooned. It has been a spectacular falling on her face.
To death, which is why we didn't want kind of really, again, that was last Thursday. So doing a show that like kind of encompasses 2 weeks. So yes, it is a house maiden kind of scary with that one, especially in the kitchen where there's
you got to watch the whole speech because it's so over the top with her breathless takes on her being scared and her pearl clutching and it's just so stupid.
And you compare that to how she normally speaks because she regularly makes appearances on television and she
does not sound like that at all.
So speaking of politicians, we've been actually following the up and coming young career of Count Benface.
That's right. It's been a while since we've checked in with him.
Running for mayor of London, England.
He'd get my vote if I lived there.
Well, here's his fundraising video, Ben.
See? Speaking to us.
I'll be London's greatest mayor, wish she's my command. But I can't use your help to run, I need to raise 10 grand. 2024's an opportunity to show the world the wonders of democracy. Put in Trump and she would throw it all in the abyss. But the British system still allows us all to take the piss. Oh, you to me are everything. The city I'll be conquering all of them. All of them.
This is a catchy little ditty.
Used to think I'm just a clown, but then I took this coming down all of them. All of them. I fixed the bridge in Hammersmith. I had folks off the street. I fit Suella's limousine with 5 ejector seats. So now you've had a test of me. Come on and get the best of me on them.
Well, we can't vote for him. We can certainly finance that campaign.
Hell yes, by all means.
Lord Benface has my vote and my support. And may I speak for the show because it's our show. Also, the endorsement of Topic Thunder. Speaking of thunder and lightning, it's the Lightning Road! Welcome to my dad's favorite segment, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Lightning Round. As we see the world's most dangerous chat zone light up with the bolts, let me kindly remind you, if you're new, what the rules are here. I am going to read you 3 headlines. And in an exercise of pure democracy, you, the people, will vote on which one we cover. Folks, without dilly or dally, we've kept you up late. It's past your jail time. Folks, headline number 1. Exploding toilet at Dunkin's store in Florida left a customer filthy and injured, lawsuit claims.
Duncan's had it rough. That's the second time in a couple of weeks they've appeared.
Oh no, I've got to unlock the article. Can I do it without joining? Wait, I'm going to join with Google because that's a throwaway account. Here it is. Headline number 2. Student toe-licking fundraiser sparks investigation into Oklahoma school.
Oh, Oklahoma. Leave us at Oklahoma. Can't have transgender kids, but you can have toe licking.
And headline number 3, coincidentally sent to us by Tipton Moscow.
Yes.
Headline number 3. 2 men plan to have a large python eat a woman's daughter before blowing up her house, police say.
Tipton Moscow with a come on, ladies and gentlemen.
With the Iggy, as we used to say.
Come on.
So, Folks, as we thank you for participating in this experiment, the show, the Topic Thunder, right? It's fun. It's an interesting conversation, which is largely in part to you, the Thunderdome. I'll let that marinate for a little bit, but votes are actually starting to roll in. And once
Biz is going to break the seal. He's going to go with number 2.
So once people start voting is when I say, I'm going to read the headlines one more time.
Come on, guys. There's an obvious choice here.
Headline number 1: exploding toilet at a Dunkin' store in Florida left a customer filthy and injured, lawsuit claims. Headline number 2: student toe-licking fundraiser sparks investigation into Oklahoma school. And headline number 3: 2 men plan to have a large python eat a woman's daughter before blowing up her house, police say.
That is the most incredible headline we have ever read in this segment any time.
We are working through our voting process right now. There are more.
The state of Florida is an exploded Dunkin' Donuts toilet. I agree.
True story. There are more people currently in the Thunderdome than there are votes. So,
Adrian votes for 3. She sent me a text. She did not. She's not in the chat, but she did throw a vote in for number 3. See, yeah, there we go.
All right, that's starting.
See, I'm sorry, Biz. Come on. I mean, what are we talking about here? Have you heard a better headline than number 3?
It's like he knows Tipped in Moscow or something.
It's like him and I share a mind.
We are working on I believe a 3-2 vote right now. Hold on. Actually, you know what? Number 3 is surging ahead. But we got young Aaron, is he out there? Maybe the Australian guy. Usually he pops up. I don't see
for a vote
out there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a recount right here, which is popular these days.
Recount.
It's completely legit.
Joe
flipped his vote? Just to be honest,
he did, and I don't know that we allow that, but whatever.
We're working on 6.
I don't see an actual vote from Gigi here.
And I don't see Dad F and Brooks voting either.
Correct.
Which if you want to go to that Blackhawks game on Sunday, you better fucking vote.
I don't know. We may have. Wait, don't drop any chads. Yeah.
Damn it.
Come on. There we go.
She's got to vote for it. Number 3 is kind of pulling away.
It seems off. Come on.
I guess.
Come on.
As they say, speak now or forever hold your peace. There he is.
Dad F and Brooks.
All right.
Also coming in.
Thank you, Dad. You're solidifying the vote. We have a winner. Headline number 3: 2 men plan to have a large python eat a woman's daughter before blowing up her house. Bryan County, Georgia. Hello. Thanks to our friends at WTOC. 2 Georgia men are accused of setting off a bomb at a woman's home and plotting to release a python to eat her daughter. Authorities say a 34-year-old Caleb Kinsey and 37-year-old Stephen Glosser, and folks, when you see their mugshots, they live up to their names, conspire to harass, intimidate, injure, or kill. Well, which one is it? Conspire to harass, intimidate, injure, or kill the woman who owned the house, according to WTOC. Glosser and the victim allegedly met on a dating app, but their relationship eventually went south to Georgia.
No.
So they decided to block each other. That's when Kinsey got involved. The men allegedly planned to shoot arrows into the victim's front door, mail her dog feces or dead rats, scalp her head, blow up the home, and, by the way, release a large python to eat her daughter.
These guys had it all planned out.
Perfectly. It's like a Mel Brooks movie. WTOC reported that Glosser found the victim's home and built an explosive device along with Kinsey using tannerite. Tannerite is a brand of firearm target designed to explode when struck by a bullet. I guess we all just learned something here. The two then used the device to blow up the woman's house, police said. A witness told investigators they saw a black SUV leaving the scene, which was determined to be Kinsey's car. Police served a search warrant for Kinsey and Glosser's home and their phones. Authorities found evidence of explosives and Glosser's journal. The men have been indicted on a slew of charges, including
yeah, needless to say,
unlawful possession of an explosive, first-degree arson, stalking, use of an explosive to commit another felony offense. That is a great fucking law to break. Like, you've really got to do extra to break the use of an explosive to commit another felony offense.
Right.
Conspiracy to use an explosive to commit a felony, which should have been first, thank you WTOC, and possession of an unregistered destructive device.
Incredible.
Prosecutors say the conspiracy charge, which is not listed at all, and the slew of charges. So again, thanks to WTOC for their
really burying this.
Really put that one together. Prosecutors say the unlisted conspiracy charge carries a penalty of up to 20 years in prison, and use of an explosive to commit a felony carries a penalty of 10 years in prison, without saying what the charge and term of incarceration for use of an explosive to commit another felony offense will render you.
Tipped in Moscow.
Tipped in Moscow, and I guess we'll be following the careers of young Caleb Kinsey and Stephen Glosser for several years to come. I had no idea that what tannerite was before this segment existed.
Ironically enough, I had heard it for the first time earlier today when a couple of guys at work were talking about the fact that they heard some guy, I guess the cops got called here recently because some guys were like exploding refrigerators with tannerite in the middle, on the outskirts of town here.
That sounds like fun.
That's the most hillbilly shit you've ever heard, isn't it?
That explains where I come from, but I try to work to the other side. You know, I'm always reaching. So, reaching for your likes. So, folks, if you've liked what you've seen, please go ahead and smash that like button. You've been watching for the last hour and a half, which we certainly appreciate.
Yes, we do.
It's Topic Thunder, and every Wednesday we're here and there. We deliver this type of content, so we really appreciate your patronage and the conversation in the world's most dangerous chat shows with Thunderdome. I want to give a shout out to Adrian, who's going for a master's in education. Peace to you. That is awesome. From the desk of Topic Thunder, it's been Broox and Ben.